And then Paul, we're ready whenever you are.
Okay. This meeting will come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll.
Bates.
Here.
Benjamin.
Here.
Kasdorf.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Sardina.
Here.
Tarts.
Here,
Mr. Holdman is excused.
Is there anyone desiring to be heard? None. Consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
I heard Pat do the second. A motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye. All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Communications,
Just the department reports.
committee reports, building board.
Building board met a few minutes ago, and we approved occupancy permits for concrete removal and repair service LLC at 4712 North 125th Street. We approved Badger Lighting and Signs at 4562 North 127th Street. And we approved occupancy permit for Charlotte Amour Wedding and Event Planning. We also approved 2 fence permits, one for Kevin Crozier at 4701 North 124th Street, and for Magdalene and Anton Yurovich at 5180 North Dietrich Court. One permit for a fence was not approved. We denied for Christopher Hamada at 12929 West Cameron Avenue. End of report.
Thank you. Finance committee.
Finance committee met just a couple of minutes ago, and we approved the April and May invoices of $54,403.77. Moved that on to the full board for approval. End of report.
Thank you. The plan commission met this evening, and the discussion was about rezoning and creating an ordinance 2409, which will come to you later in the public hearing. But the plan commission did make a motion to send it to the full board. End of report on that. Library board.
The library board met on June 11th. A couple things going on that are continuing to go on, and that is we're reviewing investment options for our reserve fund. And we continue to review the budget for next year, of course. We also had a resignation off the board, so we're looking for a village resident to step up on that. And I got some beautiful words from Charlene Benjamin for me to speak with here. A great friend of our library passed away this week. Carol Zuba was tireless in her work with the Friends of the Library group. She led it for years through good times and tough ones. She was the force behind our Imagination Library membership, which provides our youngest readers with their very own books. Most of all, Carol just loved being involved with the library. She spent many an enjoyable hour there developing our trivia night program, which she was absolutely bonkers about. Crazy. It was wonderful enthusiasm. Weeding the flower beds or helping the library be a welcoming place for our youth. Her spark, her dedication, and the spirit of her service are already sorely missed. End of report.
Thank you. And a special thank you to Carol for all the work that she did for the village. She will be missed. Community Foundation, we talked about golf outing, and redoing the paint is fading on one side of the caboose. So there's been discussion about maybe repainting that or polishing it or something to make that shine again. That's the end of the report on that. Community events.
Community events met last Wednesday. We accepted the resignation of Jennifer Birch from the Community Events Committee. We also talked about the need to try and recruit someone. That initiative will take place after the 4th of July. During our meeting, we talked about the 4th of July parade and the events around the day. Had a brief discussion about bingo for next year in the report.
Thank you. Report of the administrator.
Thank you. I have a couple different things for you. Our 2024 road project is slated to begin on July 1st. It is going to be dealing with Fairmount and Cameron Avenue between 127 and 124, and then 125th and 126th Street between Fairmount and Cameron. We understand that there is going to be the 4th of July parade. Stark is just going to be doing some saw cutting of the pavement on 127 in Fairmount and Cameron. And they have promised us that they will be cleaning all of that up, so there's no issues for 4th of July. There should be no, no trip hazard, no issues with that. We corresponded with the village engineer today surrounding that. And we also sent letters to property owners directly affected by the road project, letting them know the start date and the estimated end date, which is going to be in the beginning of September. So those went out, I believe, last week, at the end of last week. Utility billing, the utility bills are due July 1st. They did go out on June 7th. We have been advised that there have been some issues with people getting the bills mailed to them. There seems to be a hiccup in the postal service delivery where I think we got over a dozen people today that have called us or come in stating that they haven't received their utility bills yet. So I would just, I would advise people to come in, give us a call, send us an email, and we will, if you haven't received it yet, and we'll give it to you. And I will be delaying the late fees for about a week, just to make sure that people can get in and pay on time and not have to worry about that exact deadline. But I'm also using this opportunity to advise that people go to email bills. We do have the ability to email people their bills. You get it directly once the bills are ready. And we also have ACH payment plan documents that were included with the utility bills. So if people didn't get those utility bills in the mail, we do have extra forms for people to fill out on the website and at Village Hall. This would basically allow the village on the day that the bills are due to go and direct debit the accounts that we have on file and pull the money from the accounts and transfer it to the village accounts. So that way people don't have to worry about paying the fees online, because that can be a lot if you're using your credit card. And it's a completely free service that the village offers now. So it's pretty slick. I'm glad that we're able to do that. I've gotten a number of enrollments on that so far. So just putting that back out there for people who are interested. We are going to be mailing out absentee ballots late next week. Ballots will need to be out according to federal law by the 27th of June. They will have until August 13th to return those ballots. The ballots are going to be a lot longer than they normally are because there was a large number of parties that qualified for ballot status. So they're going to be about 17 inches long and probably double-sided, which is going to be quite the doozy on election day. But we will make it through. It'll be good. And then I have been involved with business retention meetings with some of Butler's largest employers. Me and Therese Thill from the Washoe County Center for Growth have met with Cargill, Western States, and Molded Rubber Plastics. We have talked to them about challenges that they're facing, anything that they need from the village. We've hooked them up with a lot of good resources so far, and they have really appreciated our visits. And they have also given, and I want to give Brian a shout out here and the DPW and Chief Zulik and the fire department, that each one of them has had nothing but good things to say about the village, the relationships with the businesses and the village. The police department, they said it has just been amazing. Fire department, DPW, whenever they need stuff, they respond and they're very, very good. So I wanted to give a shout out to all of them for their continued work and the maintaining good relationships with the business community. We are in the process of finalizing our DPW position, and we do have the unfortunate happening of our assistant administrator resigning as of July 17th. He will be moving on to the village of Sherwood to be their village administrator. So we issue him congratulations, but also we are sad to see him go, but I know he's going to do great things there. And lastly, me and Chief Zalewski met with Hot Rods in Hampton to go over the plans that they have in scheduling of everything, and that will be coming before the board in July for the permits that they need for that. End of report.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to open it to a public hearing for ordinance 24-09, an ordinance to rezone certain lands in the village of Butler as I-1 institutional and governmental district under section 5476 of the Village of Butler Municipal Code. Is there anyone here that would like to speak about that? None. So I will go ahead and close that it was open and closed at 6:17. New business. Discussion and possible action on ordinance 24-07, an ordinance creating section 32-86 of chapter 32 of the Butler Municipal Code regarding parking being prohibited except for certain persons and amending the official traffic map of the Village of Butler.
Sorry for the tongue twister there. So I was approached by, I'll take these in two separate parts. Chief Zulik requested that the parking spaces to the east of the fire garages where the fire trucks come out be repurposed and made to be fire department only. Right now, there are customers or the business owners of the commercial building next to it, which is Easy Nails. They are parking in those two spaces, and he said that it's very difficult that in the case of an emergency, his guys won't be able to park right in front of the fire department, get in there, change, and get out right away. Because there are some nights like tonight, if there's voting, if there's a meeting going on, the whole parking lot's filled up. So if the parking lot's filled up, the spaces out there are filled up. They now have to find another spot to park. Sometimes if it's really busy in front of the village hall and on the street is filled up, so they need to find alternate parking locations. So they are requesting that the village make those two parking spaces fire department only. So when they're on duty or they're responding to a call, those spots would be open for the fire department personnel to go and occupy. The second one is to create a handicap spot on 126 in Hampton. Right now, there's no spot designated for that. It's not going to be on Hampton Avenue. It's going to be just beyond where the crosswalk is. I have a letter in the packet from two business owners that cater to elderly clients that are requesting that get put in because they have issues with finding parking on Hampton Avenue that their customers can get to their businesses in a safe and efficient manner. So again, you can review the letter, or if you have reviewed the letter, they have, I believe, the reasoning in there. So that is what this ordinance is regarding.
Do we have to have any type of, we know who the fire department vehicles are, like the personal vehicles. Do we have to have any type of notification to the police department of who can park there, or they'll just know?
My guess is, I can definitely get a roster of the vehicles from the fire department and hand it over to the police department. I would say that, in the meantime, we can, my guess is that the fire department would notify us that, hey, there's somebody parking the spot that I know is not part of the fire department. But
And do we give them like something they can hang from their mirror that says active or
Yeah, do they have,
versus carrying a
they have
roster, something
stickers or
that's
anything?
visual?
we can definitely, because what we can do is I can order stickers from where we get the parking passes from,
That's bad.
and I can do that.
Well, we can see if we have to get to that point. There's only a handful of vehicles that would be there. So I would assume the PD would know who can park there and who can't.
Yeah, so my understanding is that her line is going to be painted red in response to prevent, to notify that it's for the fire department only. Also have the understanding though that there's not going to be a sign directly put into the concrete. So the understanding as far as enforcement goes is that legally without a properly defined and attached to size of the sign, we can't do parking enforcement in an area like that.
Brian, I was going to stop. They're going to be, would it matter if they spray paint the spot? Because that's what Jim was going to do. Instead of putting the sign there, they were going to spray paint that on the pavement. Does that,
It should prevent people from parking there if you're not allowed to.
okay,
I would agree with what President Castro said. If it gets to that point, we can address it. And as far as stickers or other things, majority of our firefighters have firefighter license plates.
Right.
And it's usually the same ones that show up around duty, so I'm not concerned with an issue. You know, if last there's a problem, we can find out which car it is, address it, and do it.
Sounds good. Thank you. If there's no additional questions, does someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to do ordinance 2407.
I'll second it.
A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Next item of business, discussion and possible action on ordinance 24-08. An ordinance to create section 28-65 of the Butler Municipal Code to clarify the levying of a special charge for recycling services and to amend the Village of Butler fee schedule.
so this ordinance is coming from a recommendation from our village attorney. We've been charging the recycling charge on our utility bills dating back to the 1990s. He asked if we had a resolution that on file that basically outlines the levying of the charge. I said that I could look, but he said it would probably be best to amend or to create this section to just solidify the levying of that charge. So there's no question regarding that. So that is why I'm bringing that to you. This kind of goes back to the utility billing issues that I brought up to the board at the end of last year that we addressed.
So it's just kind of getting caught up in a bookkeeping update.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2408.
I'll second that.
A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Next item, discussion and possible action on ordinance 24-09, an ordinance to rezone certain lands in the Village of Butler as I-1 institutional and governmental district under section 654-76 of the Village of Butler Municipal Code.
So as the plan commission discussed earlier tonight, this is going to be an ordinance that rezones all of the governmental and places of worship, all those properties to the I-1 institutional governmental zoning district from their current zoning district, which includes R1, R3, R2, manufacturing 1, and business 1. Basically making these properties fall into compliance with the comprehensive plan for the village that we have on file with Waukesha County, and to also just bring clarification to the zoning code saying that these properties are actually being used for what the zoning code allows. So that is the lion's share of what I have to tell you about that. I can answer any remaining questions that you have on this ordinance if you have any.
I'll just make note that we did have some public discussion about Clark's Woods. And I believe that was talked about and resolved as to how nothing will change on that location.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2409.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Next item, discussion and possible action on resolution 24-09, a resolution to open a money market account with Town Bank for the Butler Library.
So with Town Bank currently, we have a number of different money markets for storm, sanitary sewer, capital projects, debt service, and regular general fund. This allows the village to earn currently about 5.4% interest on the money that are in those accounts. So that has, to piggyback off of the finance committee, that has allowed us to surpass our budgeted investment revenue for the year already. So we have very strong investment earnings on that. And the discussion that I had with Charlene and Genevieve was to allow the Butler Library to move a chunk of the village's money that is currently sitting in our checking account, or I should say our savings account, over to one of those money markets that the value of that is equivalent to what the fund balance is for the library as of the end of 2023. So what this would allow is it would allow a new revenue stream to be opened where they would be earning interest on the investment in the money market, and it would allow the library to be able to fund more programs, possibly prevent the increase of the need for tax dollars in the future as time goes on. And the library board did pass this unanimously, I believe, last month. So if you have any questions on that, I am more than happy to answer them.
What is their money doing now? It's in our general,
It's in the general checking account, and it's not giving them any interest income on that.
and then that would stay within their account,
Correct, their
800.
800 account.
the 800.
Yeah, but that's money that's been occurred before our budgeting, correct?
Correct. So this is the fund balance that's been built up over the years.
Right, that's been money that's been originally for the original library brought forward to what's been donated to the library till now.
Yeah. And accumulated surplus. So
Right.
last year, I believe, from what the auditors have told me, again, it's preliminary. They're going to be presenting the final numbers next month, but the library did increase their fund balance they had a surplus last year from the revenues and the expenditures that they had.
Right,
So yep, it's the base plus whatever the surplus has been since
all right.
2009.
I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that.
And is there a time frame if they put the money into the bank, if in case they need it or something?
Yeah, so it's fully accessible. They don't need to, if they need to access that money, we can transfer it and it would be in the checking account the next day.
I don't know if I'm reading this wrong, but we have two resolutions, 2409.
Yes, I was gonna make note of that.
One says ordinance,
One's an
one says
ordinance.
resolution.
Oh, okay.
One's on resolution.
You're right.
It's just a coincidence.
Mhm.
At that point, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2409 to open a money market.
I'll second it.
I heard Bill. That's the second. A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Discussion and possible action on resolution 24-10, a resolution for the compliance maintenance annual report for the Village of Butler.
So this is the report that we have to turn in annually. You've probably seen this a million times. We have to turn this into the DNR. It basically details the financial and other measures that the DNR always keeps track of with regards to, I believe it's our sanitary sewer. What you'll see in that report is there's a fairly large adjustment that happened this year. That is because I started to do some digging and I asked our village engineer about the amounts that were previously listed. And he and I came to an agreement that they needed to be adjusted to reflect what is actually allocated for that. So we made an adjustment to accurately reflect what we have allocated to the financial accounts that the report is outlining.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2410.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Discussion and possible action on resolution 24-11, a resolution to authorize the Wauwatosa Home Depot Community Outreach Team to construct a little library in Frontier Park.
Yes. So last month I was approached by The Wauwatosa Home Depot Community Outreach Team, the head of that, I believe, lives in Butler or had lived in Butler for a number of years, and they are looking to do a number of projects around the communities that are local to them. And one of the things that they approached me for was a little library at Frontier Park. So we are just looking to get permission from the board to be able to construct that. It will be, I believe, it's going to be near one of the ball diamonds, I believe, the upper diamond. I can't remember exactly where it is, but Jim has met with them and discussed with them where the DPW believes would be a good location for that.
Who maintains it then if it were to get vandalized? Is that become our issue or?
That would be, I would say that if it were to become damaged or destroyed, my guess is we would probably contact them, ask them, hey, do you want to come and repair this? If they say no, then my guess is the DPW would then just remove it.
Is the park the best location? Or is there a better option?
Normally, with these little libraries, and maybe Charlene can lend a little bit of insight into this, but normally they are placed in front of people's houses that I've seen. I know that we have one near one of the apartment buildings on Hampton Avenue. So possibly, I mean, if people are walking through the park and maybe they want to sit down on a bench and read a book while, you know, during the summertime or whatever, I think that would be, to me, I think that it's a good location. I mean, Charlene, I don't know if you have any insight that you can give.
The only concern the library board had about placing one at the park was the vandalism issue. I know patrolling has picked up. I don't know if we've had any significant vandalism at the park, so it may not be an issue. And it's a nice balance from the one that the library put up at the Regency. So is it a great spot? I guess we'll have to see.
And as the resolution says, it's not going to be at the expense of the village. The village is not paying for this. It's going to be basically a charitable donation from the outreach team. And like I said, if it gets vandalized and they say, you know what, we don't want to repair it, then I'll just have the DPW haul it out, and the books that are in there, then we would just bring to the library as donated books.
I guess it's not my concern about the vandalism as much as it is, I mean, we have to put a barrel out that says for hot coals because people dump their hot coals by trees. You know, if you're walking across in front of the building, the tree that is closest to Michelle's yard had hot coals dumped around it because they didn't want to go across the parking lot to put their coals in the bucket that says for hot coals. So my concern isn't necessarily the vandalism, but something that extends past that and creates a greater risk. I have a front row seat, right?
Yeah.
And I'm in the park every day, and the stuff that I see is, you know, is there, you know, messes after the weekend? Sure, you know, park's busy, but something like that creates a potential for even greater risk just concerns me because it's unsupervised. That's my only concern with that.
Sure.
Well, we could try it. We could give it a try, just, I guess, until we know.
Now with that, then I'll make a motion to accept 2411 as written.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay.
Nay.
Motion passes. Discussion and possible action on resolution 24-12, a resolution to authorize Matthew O'Malley to construct a memorial bench in Frontier Park.
So very similar to the Wauwatosa Home Depot, Matthew O'Malley, who was a village resident for many years, who only recently moved. Basically, this is for his dog that he would walk through the park in the forested area every day. His dog passed away, and he had again approached the village to construct, maintain, and install a memorial bench in front of Frontier Park, or not in front of Frontier Park, in Frontier Park along the walking path in the forest. It would be the more straightaway portion of it near the river. When I talked with him, I said if this passes, we would want to know what the bench is going to look like, what it's going to be made of, and also to talk with the DPW about the location of it. Again, I told him that I would put it in front of the village board for consideration on that, and I would get back to him with what the decision was.
I think it'd be a good thing for them. The people that are down there, I think it'd be a good thing for it.
It's a great spot.
So with that, I'd make a motion to accept 2412 as written.
I'll second it.
I heard Bill and Brad. Motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Discussion and possible action on resolution 24-13, a resolution to adopt the 2024 revised version of the Butler Employee Handbook.
Yes, so this resolution has to do with the employee handbook. I have been working with our labor attorney, Jim Carroll, for a number of months to get this handbook revised. There were, as you can see in his letter to the board that I included in with the packet, there was a number of grammatical, spelling, other miscellaneous revisions, but he did detail the sections where he made more substantial changes and what those changes were. The biggest one that the the administration wanted to bring to the board's attention was a change in the way that we deal with retirement. This is going to be for all employees that are hired after July 1st of 2024, except for the police, where the police contract goes until 2026. So anybody after that would, instead of having the termination benefit days, which are quite frankly the labor attorney and the benefits attorney that looked at our termination benefit days, they said that they've never seen anything like it, and they found it hard to compute and comprehend. And obviously they see that stuff all the time. We have to have the auditors spend a good amount of time working that out during the audit. I have to, or the treasurer has to work things out. And it does put us on, it's a complicated process that no other municipality does. I think that we've tried to nip this in the bud before, and I believe that we have a very good alternative set forth. I did research with a couple different municipalities to see what they do. A lot of them do what we are proposing, which is creating an HRA, a retirement HRA account with diversified benefits, who we use currently for our FSA and our regular employee HRA for reimbursement of medical expenses. So what would happen is they would build up their sick time, and whatever their sick time is as of when they retire, they would get that paid out into the HRA, and then they would file claims against that and get that amount down to basically zero. Right now, with the termination benefit days, it's a lump sum payment to them to be used for for insurance, or we can withhold that amount and then pay for their health insurance until the amount has run out. This basically takes it off of our books, so we don't have to worry about doing a lump sum payout. We don't have to worry about the taxes associated with that. We don't have to worry about keeping track of, if they want us to maintain it, we don't have to worry about doing that, keeping track of that. And we can also guarantee that it's actually being spent on insurance and medical expenses, because right now we just kind of give them a lump sum and we just assume that that's what it's getting spent on. It's in the handbook, it says that's what it's supposed to be used for, but I don't know if they take that money and then just go get a boat. I'm not sure. So with this, we can make sure that it's being spent on what it's supposed to be spent on. So that's the biggest change that I would say that's being brought to it. And again, this would not affect anybody that we have currently on the payroll. This is just going forward. So anybody hired after July 1st would have this change, and really we wouldn't be using it until, probably for another at least, I would say, a couple years. It depends on, what the age of the person is that we hire after this date. It could be 5 years, could be 10 years, could be 30 years. But that's just the biggest change that I have. So I'm open to any questions that you may have regarding this.
If these termination days are kind of not heard of, is it possible to have the current employees go on to this program? 'Cause
It would be extremely difficult, mainly because we have the contract with the police union, which makes up the vast majority of our full-time employees that are eligible for this. It would be 9 out of 15 full-time employees that would be subject to that, because we have 2 other people that are under contract with the police department, including 7 sworn officers that are under the union, 2 that are under employment contract. I have my contract. So really it would just be the DPW and our police secretary and our assistant administrator, who again is leaving and would be subject to this when they're hired. It would be very, very difficult, and I would question some of I don't think it would be necessarily the legalities of it, but I would just really question if our current employees would be happy with that.
I would think it would open it up to risk.
Yes, that's my concern.
What this new program would be, it's a wash. Isn't the only difference is you don't get the lump sum?
So
Well,
you
still-
wouldn't get it. Yeah, you wouldn't get the lump sum paid out, and then it basically eliminates all of this tracking where, if you have basically right now, it's like, okay, you work the entire year, and if you had 3 sick days, you're not penalized. Up to 3 sick days, you're not penalized. After that, you get penalized a certain amount for every day after 3 days of sick that you have. So that basically reduces your accumulation. So when the audit comes around in April, I have to have this whole spreadsheet with every single full-time employee, and I have to go through and say, okay, how many sick days did Patrick have? How many sick days did I have? And I have to go in and calculate all of that and try to keep track of it, and then I have to email it out to everybody. While that's not going to resolve the issue in the short term, it's going to make the long term a lot easier to deal with regards to tracking the sick time. Because it's just going to be, okay, whatever you have in your bank, you max it out at 800 hours, which is what a lot of our DPW, or a lot of the full-time people have. You max it out at 800 hours. Right now, the maximum I think that you can have for termination benefits, I can't remember exactly, but basically it's just whatever's in your bank is what's in your bank, and we don't have to worry about keeping track of all of this superfluous information.
Well, I guess I'm a little confused still. If the big issue is the termination benefits, but the only thing, and maybe I'm not understanding, but isn't that only taking away the lump sum payment, but that would go into an HRA? Or are we reducing the amount of sick days you can have?
So it is not necessarily reducing the number of sick days you can have, because the cap is the cap. I believe that right now it is 800 hours of sick time, which I think is accumulated up to about 100 days. It would eliminate, like you said, it would eliminate the lump sum payout. It would eliminate us having to track all of the background information. And like I said, you accumulate 6 termination benefit days per year, but it depends on how many sick days you took during the year. And it's like I said, it's hard for me to even really explain, because I think in the handbook, it's almost a 3/4 to a full page of notes on explaining what it all is. So it's mainly meant to minimize the the work that needs to go in. It's just going to simplify the process, eliminate that lump sum. It goes into an HRA. We can better track what they're spending it on, so they're not just taking the lump sum payout and not spending it on the items that they need to spend it on.
So right now you have sick days and termination days.
No, so the sick days go away when they retire. So we don't pay out the sick days in a lump sum payout. We do the termination benefit days, which, like I said, it's your confusion is my confusion. And in trying to work all of that out, it's very confusing because, like I said, it's not one for one. It's not every year they earn 12 sick days, but only 6 termination benefit days. Does that make sense?
Can I
No.
muddy the waters a little bit and then ask you, so we have sick day payout, do we have vacation day payout too?
Yes. Yes. So
Gosh.
yeah, so we have the vacation day payout and comp time for the employees that are eligible for comp time.
Okay, so I guess, I just, if there's no loss of days when someone leaves currently, what would be the problem in trying to change the wording so we're not waiting a long time to implement a new policy? If there's no loss of anything, other than the lump sum payout.
I'm gonna have to review exactly, like I said, I'm gonna have to review the language here.
And we could,
Should we move this to
maybe,
July?
maybe we should table it because.
Yeah, we can table it.
And that would
I
be,
can-
my discussion would be, because right now we wouldn't have a benefit of this until, and it could be years,
5 to 8, 10 years.
if not more.
Yeah.
So if we're not losing anything other than the lump sum, but the lump sum is going into an HRA. If somebody were to leave, their retirement would go in, they're not losing anything, would they? It just goes into the HRA.
It would go into the HRA. The exceptions that it wouldn't be taxed. So they would actually retain more of that money, because if we pay it out, there's taxes associated with that. So with the transferring to the HRA, there's no taxes that are assessed.
Right.
So they actually get to keep more of that. We can table it till July, and I can get a better grasp of all of that. I apologize. There's just been a lot.
If you're gonna do it, can we have, like, he's trying to come up with a way we can retro it back through? Is it possible to retro it back through the police union and?
Then you're gonna
DPW?
open
I'm
up you're gonna open up the
Yeah.
contract, and that could lead to all sorts of problems.
That's what I'm
with the-
asking.
Yeah,
This is a cut and dry, starts July 1st.
and then
If I'm understanding this, is that the employee, and I don't want them to lose any benefit, they won't lose anything, they won't lose any benefit except the lump sum payment. So if that, I guess that's what, for the next discussion, I wanna
I can
cleans it up on our side, and then I know we couldn't open up the police contract till that expires, but that would be one of my questions is the employee losing anything other than the lump sum?
I can do a deeper dive into that.
But they're still getting the lump sum, just not in cash. It would have to go into the HRA.
Correct. I can do a deeper
Yes,
dive on
okay.
that. I apologize for not
That's
having
okay.
that information.
Cause I know it's very, I mean, that would help us clean it up sooner than later. So we'll table that.
I'll need a motion to table that.
I'll make that motion to table it until July.
I'll second it.
A motion has been made to table, resolution 24-13. Any discussion, a motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Discussion and possible action on reviewing and approving all licenses for the 2024-25 licensing year for gaming, tobacco, and liquor.
Yes, so this is just the annual license renewal. I will make one caveat that the Derby District will be on the June 25th agenda, special meeting agenda, as they missed the publication deadline for this meeting. So we'll have a virtual meeting on the 25th to approve their liquor license. But besides that, everybody else is good to go.
Then with that, I'll make a motion to accept it as written.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay. Motion passes. Discussion and possible action on the 2024 fireworks contract with Wolverine Fireworks.
So this is the annual contract for 4th of July's fireworks. It is the same vendor that we have used for a number of years. And thankfully, their prices did not increase this year. So it is the same as last year. So we like that. And once we get that passed, I can get that contract over to them.
Make a motion to approve the 2024 fireworks contract with Wolverine Fireworks.
Second.
A motion has been made.
Hey.
A motion has
I
been
was
made.
gonna make the motion for 4th of July, but
A motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
Pass out cards ahead of time.
All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
All in opposition, say nay.
Nay.
Motion passes. Do I have a motion to
I'll make a
adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and
That's my
seconded. Any
job.
discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On opposition, say nay. Motion passes. We are adjourned at 6:53.
Big meeting in July.
Wow, that was